This is Al Jazeera.
Welcome to the News Hour, live from Doha. I'm Imran Garda. These are the main stories. International pressure to stem the bloodshed in Libya. World leaders to discuss punitive measures against Gaddafi's regime. Claiming victory, the protesters who say they are in control of the East. Terrifying accounts of their ordeal. Thousands evacuated from Libya. Also ahead, voting begins in an Irish election dominated by the trauma of economic collapse. It's 10 GMT, 12 noon in Tripoli. You're watching Al Jazeera's extended coverage of the ongoing unrest in Libya. International efforts to respond to the crisis are starting to take shape. The UN Security Council will meet on Friday to discuss a draft proposal for sanctions against Libyan leaders. European ministers are meeting in Hungary to discuss their own sanctions against the country. The EU Foreign Policy Chief, Catherine Ashton, has said the bloc is prepared to do whatever is necessary to put pressure on the Gaddafi regime. For its part, NATO will also be holding an emergency meeting on Friday. The Secretary-General has been in touch with EU defense ministers about humanitarian assistance for foreign nationals. Well, all of this as the Libyan government announced on state television an increase in wages and food subsidies.
According to Muammar Gaddafi, there's every chance these people are either members of Al-Qaeda or high on hallucinogenic drugs. Some of them are certainly in terrible pain. They're people from the town of AlJazeera who tried to fight Gaddafi's forces when they stormed the town. In his telephone address to AlJazeera on Libyan television, Gaddafi seemed to imply that they deserved it.
The demands come from bin Laden. You, Azawiyah people, are substituting the popular and Jamahiriya system with bin Laden. Bin Laden cells have been operating here for months. His operatives are provoking and brainwashing your children, inciting them to launch attacks. The enemy perpetrating the killings of our children, operating from mosques or elsewhere. Bin Laden and his operatives are providing your children with hallucination pills.
Gaddafi's apparently relaxed attitude to the violence, the allegations by Libyan witnesses, the images coming out of people tied up and executed are all the kind of thing that some in the outside world say need to be investigated as potential crimes against humanity. If the west of Libya near Tripoli remains the most volatile, then more and more footage emerges of triumphalist scenes from Benghazi and the east, suggesting Gaddafi and his forces have lost half their country. Gaddafi keeps repeating claims of drug-taking by the protesters, yet these pictures, said to be from Benghazi airport, allege that pro-Gaddafi forces shot off hundreds of rounds while drugged and drunk on vodka. Certainly some of the captured mercenaries don't look anything like as fearsome when the guns are taken off them.
My people are dying in here because Muammar Gaddafi is killing us, because we are dying, because we are fighting till we die.
One of the notable aspects of the Gaddafi phone call was his observation that he didn't much care anymore what was happening in his country. All the same, he must have cause to worry that so many loyalists are deserting him.
What happened and is happening are massacres and bloodshed never witnessed by the Libyan people. The logic of power and violence is being imposed instead of seeking democratic, free, and mutual dialogue. And because what is happening in Libya today is against the principles of truth and justice, which I believe in, I therefore confirm my resignation from the post of the chief prosecutor in Libya.
Other pictures are emerging which seem to undermine Gaddafi's claims of the prospects of civil war if he goes. Here in Tobruk, where protesters apparently overran the army, locals say national unity against Gaddafi is more important than tribal allegiance.
It's true we are tribes, but we are united. There are good relations here. We meet and cooperate. We're working together. We will not conspire or fight each other. When push comes to shove, we are united.
Libya may not quite be at tipping points, but it all depends now on what happens in Tripoli. These newly released images are said to be from a suburb of the capital and, intriguingly, don't show much in the way of pro-Gaddafi security. If the opposition has been regrouping, it wouldn't be a surprise if there was a fresh attempt to end it all. Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera.
Our correspondent Nazneen Moshiri is in Ras Ajdair on the Libyan-Tunisian border, not too far away from AlZawiya. Nazneen, give us the latest from there.
We're about 120 kilometres from AlZawiya, and we have been speaking to people inside that town. One man we spoke to, a man called Hussein, he wouldn't give us his surname. He gave his reaction to that speech from Gaddafi and saying that before the speech, people were still sort of wondering whether they should join the protest. After they heard what he had to say, more and more people are now joining the protest there in AlZawiya. He told us that it's Friday, of course, and they're preparing for Friday prayers. People are gathering in the main square in Zawiya. He said that people are not afraid. They are waiting for the fight, waiting to die. So history records Gaddafi as a Hitler. Those are his words to us. Now, these people, they say, and obviously we can't confirm this, they've been telling us they have managed to capture 4 tanks and rifles which they stole yesterday from the military barracks in AlZawiya. And they say that there were explosions this morning, which we had actually confirmed from various other sources in AlZawiya. And those explosions were pro-Gaddafi forces blowing up hidden weaponry to prevent the protesters, prevent these people from getting their hands on it. He also told us that 8 people have died, 40 are wounded, and this is a developing situation, and they are preparing to be attacked again.
Extraordinary that they've captured 4 tanks. I understand as well that you've been speaking to people from Zawara.
We spoke to a group of Indian construction workers who had literally just made it across the border and came from Zawara. And they told us that the town is very much in the hands of the people there. There are no police, no soldiers. People are holding the town. He also told us that police stations have been set on fire. And interestingly, the checkpoints on the way from Zawara to where we are now are very much in the hands of pro-Gaddafi forces. That is what they told us. Men who, some of them dressed in military clothes, some of them in plain clothes, wearing green scarves, stopping people, and the nearest checkpoint to where we are is about 15 kilometres away. And that is where they are checking through their bags, taking their mobile phone SIMs, any kind of electronic equipment, preventing them from bringing footage of what they're seeing on the ground here into Tunisia.
Yeah, those checkpoints must be making it a nightmare to get out of the country there in the west. Nazneen, for the moment, thanks a lot for that update from Ras Ajdair. Well, thousands of Libyans have also been flocking to the border with Egypt, which is on the other side of the country. Jamal Shayal joins us from Saloum, just inside Egypt. Jamal, you heard what Nazneen had to say there, that there were checkpoints set up by pro-Gaddafi loyalists along the way, confiscating footage and the like. Is there anything similar on the other side?